Hollywood's golden age glitters in memory, a dream world of elegance, talent, and timeless stars. But behind the camera, the stories were often far from the carefully crafted illusions projected onto theater screens. Many of cinema's most beloved figures carried shadows with them, their public charm masking private cruelty, manipulation, or abuse. The studios, ever protective of their investments, polished reputations and rewrote scandals into harmless eccentricities or touching tragedies. What emerges is a different kind of history, one in which the very icons audiences adored were sometimes the source of deep harm. These are the untold sides of 10 Hollywood legends, where myth and reality diverge, and the truth is far less flattering than the legend. 1. Joan Crawford. Some legends shine brightest in the spotlight, but cast the darkest shadows at home. In Joan Crawford's case, her rise from abused child to Oscar-winning actress made her seem like the ultimate embodiment of the American dream. Fan magazines portrayed her as a picture-perfect parent, posing for bedtime stories and birthday celebrations with her adopted children. The truth, according to her daughter Christina's memoir Mommy Dearest, was far more disturbing. Crawford allegedly beat her children with coat hangers, forced late-night floor scrubbing for minor mistakes, and once hacked off Christina's hair in a fit of rage over playful imitation. The now infamous no-wire hangers incident, where she destroyed her daughter's belongings over closet hangers, became pop culture shorthand for maternal cruelty. Crawford never publicly addressed the accusations, and the studios worked tirelessly to protect her image. Publicists reframed her volatility as discipline and her perfectionism as dedication. This carefully maintained illusion allowed fans to worship a glamorous icon, never suspecting she may have terrorized her own children. The gap between image and reality remains one of Hollywood's most haunting deceptions, proving that in Tinseltown, the role of a lifetime can be played off-screen. 2. Shirley Temple. Few faces in film history embodied pure innocence like Shirley Temple. With her bouncing curls, dimpled smile, and sparkling eyes, she became the Depression-era's brightest light, offering hope and joy when the world was heavy with despair. Later, she successfully transitioned into public service, earning praise as a diplomat and principled figure. But the legacy of America's sweetheart has a shadow. Later accounts suggest that Temple, instead of championing protection for child actors, reportedly defended some of the very Hollywood figures accused of predatory behavior. According to multiple sources, she maintained the industry's code of silence, downplaying or dismissing victims' claims. Her own childhood experiences revealed troubling glimpses of that culture. In her autobiography, she wrote about a producer exposing himself to her at age 12, yet she recounted it with a tone so casual it hinted at deep normalization of misconduct. This same normalization seemed to surface when she responded to others' abuse allegations, allegedly prioritizing Hollywood's image over accountability. Temple's story is a case study in how early stardom can be used not just to sell movies, but decades later to protect the machinery that created it. Her image as the nation's innocent darling helped shield a system built on exploitation, proving that sometimes the most wholesome smiles conceal the deepest compromises. 3. Hedi Lamar. Hedi Lamar was once hailed as the most beautiful woman in the world, a Hollywood star whose face captivated audiences worldwide. But behind the glamour, she possessed a formidable intellect, co-inventing frequency hopping technology that would later pave the way for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and GPS. Today, she is celebrated as both a screen siren and an overlooked genius, a symbol of beauty and brains in perfect harmony. Yet this modern, polished legacy hides the turbulent truth of her later years. Accounts from those who knew her paint a picture of a woman consumed by volatility. Arrests for shoplifting and allegations of physical assaults marked her final decades. Former assistants described working for her as a nightmare, recalling unpredictable outbursts, relentless verbal abuse, and an atmosphere of constant fear. Retail workers and service staff often bore the brunt of her temper. Several reports detail incidents where Lamar allegedly struck store employees she accused of spying on her, or lashed out at fans who simply asked for an autograph. While her brilliance is rightfully remembered, biographies often gloss over this sustained pattern of aggression, favoring the inspiring narrative of a wronged genius over the more complicated reality. Hedi Lamar's story is a reminder that legacies are often edited for public consumption. In celebrating her mind and beauty, history has largely erased the voices of those she hurt, replacing them with a cleaner, more palatable image. Sometimes the truth is too messy for the legend. 4. Tallulah Bankhead. Tallulah Bankhead is remembered as one of Hollywood's most flamboyant rebels, a woman who shattered norms with her razor-sharp wit, smoky voice, and unapologetic bisexuality. She was a headline grabber who thrived on scandal, a performer who refused to be boxed in by the era's rigid expectations. For many today, she stands as a daring LGBTQ+ pioneer who lived authentically long before it was safe to do so. But the glamorous image of Bankhead as a lovable troublemaker hides a far uglier truth. Accounts from household staff, stagehands, and cast members reveal a pattern of cruelty and abuse. She reportedly directed extreme racist verbal attacks at black employees, behavior so vicious that it shocked even people in her own time. Colleagues spoke of terrifying temper tantrums, deliberate sabotage of fellow actors' performances, and constant intimidation of those she saw as beneath her. Her destructive streak could be as bizarre as it was cruel. In one infamous incident, after her demands were not met fast enough, she allegedly urinated on the dressing room floor in a fit of rage. Theater crews described productions with Bankhead as chaotic and emotionally draining, while Hollywood's publicity machine spun her conduct as eccentric genius or spirited nonconformity. The reality is that Bankhead's unpredictability was not charming. It was often calculated, targeted, and deeply harmful. Her story shows how easily abusive behavior can be romanticized when wrapped in glamour and celebrity, turning acts of cruelty into marketable rebellion while erasing the harm done to those who lacked her power and privilege. Sometimes, what the public celebrates as fearlessness is simply unchecked rage. 5. Bette Davis. In Hollywood's golden era, Bette Davis was hailed as a trailblazer, the sharp-tongued, fearless actress who fought the studio system and delivered unforgettable performances from All About Eve to Jezebel. Yet behind the legend was a darker truth. Davis was notorious for sabotaging rival actresses, spreading rumors to damage careers, and using her clout to have potential competition removed from major roles. Co-stars recalled her quiet but cutting tactics, from manipulating lighting to flatter herself while diminishing others, to whispering comments designed to shake an actress's confidence before a key scene. Directors were persuaded to trim away her rivals' best moments in the editing room. Though her public battles with studio heads like Jack Warner were framed as victories against a patriarchal system, her treatment of fellow women revealed she wasn't seeking equality, she was seeking dominance. Hollywood spun her ruthless ambition into a symbol of admirable toughness, turning calculated sabotage into a story of empowerment. Her legacy remains iconic, but it's a reminder that the line between trailblazer and tyrant is often drawn by whoever writes the history. 6. Greta Garbo. Mystery can be magnetic, but it can also hide malice. Greta Garbo, with her haunting beauty and famous line "I want to be alone," became Hollywood's ultimate enigma, an artist who rejected the spotlight in favor of solitude. Fans saw her reclusiveness as proof of integrity, a refusal to play the shallow publicity games of the industry. But away from the cameras, a harsher picture emerged. Former staff described Garbo as a woman who ruled her household through fear, lashing out over minor mistakes and humiliating new employees with impossible demands. When they failed, as they inevitably did, she delivered cutting personal insults, attacking their intelligence, appearance, and worth. These weren't rare flashes of temper. Accounts suggest they were calculated tests, designed to remind everyone around her of their place. While the public saw dignified silence, those closest to her knew her words could wound as deeply as any blade. Her desire for privacy wasn't just about shielding herself from fame. It created a closed world where her cruelty stayed hidden, away from the reporters and fans who adored her. Hollywood's spin machine reframed her icy detachment as elegance, making cruelty seem like the price of artistic genius. In the story they sold, Garbo's comfort mattered more than the dignity of those who served her. 7. Veronica Lake. Fame can polish a person's image until the truth is almost unrecognizable. In the 1940s, Veronica Lake became an icon with her signature peekaboo hairstyle and smoky performances in film noir classics. Her later years, filled with alcoholism, mental illness, and financial ruin, have been told as the sad tale of a fragile victim destroyed by the studio system. But behind the scenes, Lake's behavior reportedly took a darker turn. Crew members recalled her lashing out physically at makeup artists, costume designers, and even fellow actors, especially when drunk. Some accounts describe disturbing incidents during her decline, including showing up to performances intoxicated and, on at least one occasion, urinating on stage. Those who worked with her said this wasn't just a cry for help, but at times cruelty disguised as drunken chaos. They believed she used her addiction as an excuse to mistreat others. Hollywood's retelling of Lake's life focuses on her downfall as a tragic spectacle, but often erases the alleged harm she caused. This selective memory reshapes her from a volatile figure into a romanticized victim, leaving those she reportedly hurt forgotten. It is a reminder that the spotlight can not only blind us to the truth, but sometimes rewrite it entirely. 8. Jean Harlow. Tragedy often smooths the edges of a public image, turning flawed figures into untouchable legends. In the case of Jean Harlow, the original platinum blonde sex symbol of the 1930s, her meteoric rise and untimely death at just 26 have long overshadowed darker claims about her off-screen conduct. Multiple contemporaries alleged that Harlow actively spread destructive rumors about rival actresses, fabricating scandals and professional failures to undermine their standing with MGM executives. Particularly troubling were reports that she befriended promising newcomers, only to sabotage them when they began drawing attention. Invitations to glamorous parties sometimes became traps, with Harlow privately ensuring any missteps found their way into the gossip columns. Those who knew her claimed this was no accidental gossip, but a calculated strategy to maintain her dominance in a cutthroat industry. Hollywood's modern retellings largely erase these accounts, presenting Harlow as an innocent victim of the studio system. This image rehabilitation may have preserved her as a tragic icon, but it has also silenced the women who say they were casualties of her ambition. Her legacy remains a reminder that even in the golden age, beauty and tragedy could hide a ruthless will to win. 9. Zsa Zsa Gabor. Some stars dazzle with charm, others with chaos, but few blend the two as effortlessly as Zsa Zsa Gabor. In Hollywood history, Gabor's flamboyant lifestyle, endless string of marriages, and razor-sharp one-liners have kept her firmly in the public eye. What fans rarely consider is the darker side of her glamour, a documented history of violent outbursts and exploitation that hid beneath the sparkle. Her most famous scandal came in 1989, when she slapped a Beverly Hills police officer during a traffic stop. Rather than damaging her career, she spun the event into a marketing triumph, selling free Zsa Zsa t-shirts and turning misconduct into a brand. According to multiple lawsuits from former employees, the same charm was paired with cruelty behind closed doors. Housekeepers alleged verbal tirades and even physical assaults for small mistakes, while business partners claimed she swindled them out of money, relying on her celebrity to dodge repayment. For Hollywood, these controversies weren't scandals to be condemned, but opportunities to reinforce her outrageous diva image, a frame that made abuse seem like theatrical flair. By rebranding misconduct as eccentric glamour, the industry ensured that Gabor would be remembered as a camp icon, not as the alleged abuser and grifter her critics knew. 10. Joan Fontaine. Joan Fontaine's screen presence was all grace and vulnerability, a perfect fit for her Oscar-winning turns in Rebecca and Suspicion. Audiences saw her as the soft-spoken antithesis of Hollywood's bold and brazen leading ladies. Yet behind the polished image was a far more ruthless figure, at least according to those who knew her best, including her own sister, fellow screen legend Olivia de Havilland. The public liked to think of their long-running feud as a cheeky, competitive sibling rivalry, but multiple accounts suggest Fontaine's actions went far beyond playful banter. Insiders claim she spread damaging rumors about Olivia to directors, sabotaged casting opportunities, and openly criticized her sister's performances and personal life. Even in moments of deep family tragedy, Fontaine's alleged cruelty did not ease. After their mother's death, she reportedly made biting public remarks that wounded Olivia deeply, crossing from professional hostility into the realm of personal attack. Olivia, for her part, maintained a measured public demeanor, but those close to both women described Fontaine's behavior as calculated, sustained, and obsessive, an ongoing campaign to diminish her sister's success. By packaging this alleged sabotage as harmless sibling competition, Hollywood's narrative machine protected Fontaine's sweet, refined image, leaving audiences with a charming illusion rather than the troubling reality.